Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the VTEC Academy. You're about to get schooled. On this episode of VTEC Academy, we've got Carter's Daily Driver.
Yes, I don't know what I'm supposed to say. No one ever told me what to say.
Talk
My
about
'07 Accord has like 120,000 miles on it. It's been my daily for like the last 6 years, and it needs more oomph. It's getting a little too slow for me.
That's what you get for driving a supercharged K24 powered Integra.
Yeah, it is. And the new 2017 Sport hatchback with a K-tuner tune. That thing's ridiculously fast, and I'm sick of not being able to keep up with it in my Accord.
Your girlfriend gets in the Civic, and you can't keep up with her?
Yeah, I buy a new car, and she gets to drive it for some reason.
All right, so we're going to give this thing a little bit of a power boost. What we have is a TSX motor that we got out of a salvage yard. You got a smoking deal on that, didn't you?
Yeah, like $300 for engine and the 6-speed train that went with it.
Yeah, we actually popped the transmission apart. That will be another episode. Taking a look at it, see if everything was okay. And it turned out it was like perfect inside, wasn't it?
Yeah, didn't even look like it had any miles on it at all.
Yeah, one of the big problems with the TSX transmissions is the cases are magnesium. And what happens is if you drive them hard, it tends to kind of wobble out the bearing seats in them. And it can actually make the transmission bad enough to the point where it skips and breaks teeth. This particular transmission turned out to be perfect, though. I would imagine you're probably going to ruin it.
Yeah, but not right now. A number of years of hard driving now.
Yeah.
But,
so by that time, we should have some other solution for something else. I'm looking into possible ways to turn Accord transmissions into 6-speed transmissions. Hopefully, we can get that done. But we've got a full day of work to do today. We need to pull this motor out. We need to modify the harness for the 6-speed. We need to clean up the TSX motor because it is horrifically ugly because of a leaking power steering pump. Mm-hmm. And then bolt on the clutch, bolt on the transmission.
Yep.
And reinstall it.
Hopefully all in a day.
Yep. All right, here we go. So while we were draining the fluids from underneath, we decided to do a little bit of work on top. Some of the things that you have to do are disconnect the charge harness from the battery and from the fuse box. That way you can lay with the engine, drop it out with the engine. It's kind of hard to get to everything underneath the intake manifold, so it's best just to disconnect it there. Next, we are disconnecting the power steering pump from the engine. We're just going to lay it off the side. We're going out the bottom with this, so we can just kind of move it off the side. It'll be fine. Now we're also doing the same thing with the AC compressor. We can take the AC compressor, unbolt it from the engine. We should be able to just kind of bungee cord it up behind the radiator to the radiator fan, cooling fan, and that should get it out of the way, and we should have room to drop the engine. Other than that, we also did the shift cables, the grounds on the engine, and the wiring harness. What we're going to do next is raise carb in the air to start disconnecting stuff from underneath. So we've disconnected everything from underneath. We disconnected the lower control arms. We disconnected the AC compressor. We disconnected one of the power steering lines that's attached to the frame of the car, basically. I'm sorry, to the side of the car. It's like a return line. We have just taken the axles out, disconnected the exhaust. That should be pretty much everything from the underside. So the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and lower it down the ground. Then we're going to take out the bolts that hold the subframe. We've actually taken out about half of them. We're going to take out the rest of the bolts that hold the subframe to the car, and then we're going to leave the subframe and the engine on the stand that I have down below me. And then we're going to lift the car up off the engine. Once we do that, we can come in and with a cherry picker, actually we could just wheel the whole thing out. Actually, that's why we're putting it on a rollaway stand. But we got a few more things to disconnect from up top once we get it down. Once those things are done, we should be able to just drop, actually lift the car off the motor. All right.
Check your body, check your body.
I believe we've got everything disconnected, so now what we're going to do is lift the car off of the engine. This is always a funny part for me because I always invariably forget one thing. Anyway, we're going to go up. So right now, this is the engine that just came out. We're taking the wire harness off of it. Our new engine, of course, has a 6-speed transmission, so we need to add a reverse lockout to the wiring harness. Not only do we have to add it to the engine harness, but we have to get it all the way into the car as well. So that's what we're going to do now: is split up the harness and add that wire. Yeah. So one of the things we have to do is take the crank pulley off. Normally I just use a big ginormous gun for that, but since we don't have a lot of air pressure here in a big 1/2-inch gun, we need something to hold the clutch or the flywheel steady. This little tool right here is really cool. I believe it's made by Schley products, and basically what it does is you bolt it down, and now because it can't go anywhere, it prevents the flywheel from moving. So as we crank on the other side of the crank pulley bolt, the engine should stay, shouldn't turn, and we should be able to get it off. Want to give it a try? So we're going to use that tool again. It's got a really cool design. See this wedge right here? You can just finger tighten the bolt, but as the flywheel tries to push it away, it can't really go anyway because it goes into the wedge. So you don't have to have it super tight on there. Finger tighten it on. Let's do it.
Okay, Mr. Heavyweight, your turn.
No, you got it, guys. I don't want to take out any more.
see it.
Yeah, this car was actually in a front end collision. The front end was one of the frame rails was butted up against that, and then also bent our tensioner too. So we had to replace that from the Accord one. Luckily, lots of parts are transferable between these motors.
So the procedure for torquing this crank bolt is a little bit weird. I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you, back in the day I used to just tighten it with a torque, with an impact wrench, nice and tight. The correct way to do it though, and we're going to tell you the correct way to do it because we think it's important that you know, is to tighten it to 36 foot-pounds. Once you tighten it to 36 foot-pounds, you then tighten it an additional quarter turn. If it's a brand new bolt, this one is not, you would tighten it to 130 foot-pounds, then you would remove it and retighten it to 36 foot-pounds, and then the additional quarter turn. Yeah, not loosen it 36 foot-pounds.
Yeah. Really? That's it?
Well, no, then we go an additional 90
Now you do
degrees.
an additional 90 degrees. So bring it straight up and down, and do it 90 degrees.
Right here.
Yeah, right there, parallel to the ground. Make it slightly short of parallel.
Stop.
Are you sure? It doesn't look like 90 to me.
No, not quite.
There we go.
There you go. That's it. Okay, so we decided to do something a little bit different with our harness. I realized that we're no longer going to have an EGR valve. So instead of running a whole new wire for the reverse lockout, there are two wires on the EGR valve, one for the sensor, one for the actuation, that actually go back to this plug. So what we did was we soldered onto one of those wires that goes back to the plug, and that way we get our information back to the ECU. I'll actually go into the ECU plug and swap it from the EGR position over to the reverse lockout position. The other thing we did was we took a black yellow wire and we tapped into another black yellow wire inside the harness. That's giving us power for our reverse lockout. So now all we need to do is wrap up the harness, make it pretty, put it back together. Oh, we took all the other EGR wires, by the way, and we just basically insulated them off. So we're going to just tuck them in the harness and let them be. They're not really being used for anything. So just need to wrap it all up, put it back together, maybe clean it up a little bit and slap it on the motor and get ready to go. By the way, we missed our deadline for getting this thing in 6 hours by about a bunch of hours. So we're actually going to call it quits for the evening. But we are ready to start putting everything back together tomorrow and put it back in the car. So anyway, this morning while I was out teaching little girls how to hit forehands really hard, these guys were busy getting this thing ready. They bolted the transmission up, and looks like they might be ready to put this thing in. Let's go check with them.
Where's our camera guy today? You're not the camera guy.
I'm the camera guy today. Chris's back's hurt.
No, is he not coming?
No.
Wuss.
It's a model.
Yeah. So, well, we came early before our impromptu camera guy was here and finished putting the tranny on the motor, finished a few more things on the motor, including putting the harness on, the covers on, little things like that. We got the motor and tranny back into the Accord subframe, and I think we're just about ready to put it in the car.
What physical differences have you found between this and the original motor?
A few things, like the thermostat housing and both the radiator hoses are a little bit different on the TSX from the Accord. Obviously the TSX tranny being magnesium, we had to put these special washers in for any of the mounts on the tranny, which actually we forgot all four of them on the lower when we first put them on, so we had to take them off again and put these back on. What other physical differences did we find? I can't think of anything else that we found. What header, I don't know if they're actually different or not, but they look slightly different, so I threw the Accord one on for now, which we'll be doing something with the TSX full catback and header later on down the road. Intake, mass airflow sensor, whatever this is.
That's actually, that's actually the vent.
The vent tube.
Yeah,
Yes.
the vent for the crankcase.
Yeah, the
Oh, for the valve cover.
Okay. The valve cover vent, how it attaches to the intake air tube was slightly different, so we put the Accord one on. Now that might just be an update because this is a 07 Accord, which had a lot of fancier stuff over the 03, 05. That it was already throttled by wire rather than throttled by cable, so that's nice. So we can use our TSX manifold because all the first gen TSXs were throttled by wire. So things like that actually worked out easier doing this on 06, 07. Obviously, we had to add in the reverse lockout to the harness because this is now a 6-speed tranny from the 5-speed that comes in the Accord. Other than that, though, everything pretty much bolts up and fit in just fine, normal.
What's next?
Was I guess bolt the subframe up to the car and then bolt the engine to the left and right mounts and start putting it together.
One thing we found out a little bit different, there is a mass airflow sensor on the Accord. On the TSX, it actually had just a temperature air sensor. So we're going to look into whether or not we need to convert from mass airflow to just simply using the MAP sensor and temperature air in order to determine what everything is. Obviously, we're going to start it on the Accord ECU, so we need the MAP at the moment to get it fired up. We do want to drive it home, but we'll figure this out and see how we're going to do this in a bit.
I'm a lone wolf. I'm a lone wolf. I'm a
Well, I was gone for about 15 minutes getting a vacuum cap. We needed to plug off the solenoid valve for the front engine mount. These guys actually did everything on the underside of the car. They slapped both axles in, hooked up the exhaust, and then we just got done putting the final bolt through the two lower control arms into the shock forks. Anyway, now we're just gonna change the oil filter and drop it back down and fill it all up.
I'm a lone wolf. I'm a lone wolf. I'm a lone wolf.
All right, we got the moment of truth ready to unfold right here. We've got fluids in it. We've actually brought it up off the ground just a little bit so that we can put it in fourth gear and let the transmission lube, since we completely drained it of any fluid and you know, inspected it. But he's ready to fire it up. TSX engine on an Accord ECU. Let's do it.
Oh, that light clutch feels amazing.
Okay. Success!
Well, we're gonna go for a test drive and see if it shifts through all the gears and doesn't make any weird noises. Now, we're still on the Accord ECU, so we're not gonna have any power and we're gonna be easy on the motor, but just wanna make sure everything's working right. I'd say we'd wrap it up, but technically we're not done with the swap yet.
Not even. We need to get the computer squared away.
Yes, we need to find check engine light on a test drive. No clue what it's for yet. Check it tomorrow. But it did run and drive, and
Shifted through all the gears. Nothing made any weird noises other than the suspension settling around a right turn and a left turn.
yep.
Then we had, yeah, like I said, check engine light. But next thing to do is bring it to K-Tuner.
Yep.
And have them modify the ECU so it can run a TSX engine.
Yes.
If some of you guys are wondering why we decided to go with K-Tuner rather than Hondata, Hondata actually makes a flash probe for the TSX, but this does not have a TSX ECU in it. It has an Accord ECU in it. So Carter decided to go with K-Tuner rather than switching over to the TSX ECU. It seemed like an easy way to go, and we'll see how effective it is.
Yes. Should be interesting.
All right. Anyway, I'd like to say thanks to everybody that helped us out. Chris Sadowski, you can see him on YouTube. His friend A.D. Cotton, who is our friend too. Also Roy, who works at Hasport. Rob Diaz from Hush Performance. Who am I missing?
I think that's everybody that showed up.
All right.
I mean, friends and family that brought us food and fed us yesterday night.
That was good.
Yep.
Anyway, so next episode, we're going to modify the ECU, and then we will see how it runs. Thanks for joining us.